If you screwed up your last holiday ham or you're looking for new tips to nail your next ham, this is the video you want to check out. Welcome to Machete Boys Barbecue. In this video, we are double smoking a ham. Be sure you stick around. I'm going to show you just how to put together a glaze that will take your ham from zero to hero.
I've eaten about 10 pieces of this ham since I started slicing it. It's absolutely to die for.
This recipe would be good for any whole bone-in ham. But today I've got an extra special ham for my friends down at Fertile Acreage Farms. Be sure to put a link in the description where you can also grab one of these Fertile Acreage whole bone-in hams. So the prep for this is super simple. All we're looking to do is really add some extra layers of flavor. We're gonna score it, and we're gonna score it in a crosshatch pattern. Just make some slices, and we're not gonna make deep slices into the ham. We're just gonna make some light scores down into the ham. This is where I've seen a lot of people make mistakes, is they put the slices too close together and then you end up with a ham that looks like a porcupine, like this one that I've cooked a couple of weeks ago where I screwed up. Now I'm gonna turn it this way towards me and I'm gonna slice back the other way. Again, making sure that I don't slice too far down into my ham and that I'm not slicing lines that are too close together. We've got the top of our ham all nice and scored there. Let's flip it over and do the same thing to the other side. Remembering not to cut the lines too closely. So there are tons of pork rubs that you could use to knock this out of the park. And this is your ham that you're feeding to your family and your friends, so you should absolutely use whatever pork rub that you like. But today, one of my favorite pork rubs that I'm using is absolutely JDQ Barbecue Spicy Rub. Voted the world's best rub last year at the American Royal. And we're gonna throw down a pretty heavy coat. And if you're saying, wait, David, you didn't put down a binder yet. You know, if you've been watching my videos, we are no binders around here. All we need is a little bit of time. Throw down a pretty heavy coat of this. But I like this rub because it's got notes of pecan in there. It's got a little bit of heat. It's a spicier rendition of Josh DeWitt's Sweet Rub, which is also a rub that I use in competitions and I've won a lot of trophies with. Go down a little bit more across the top, making sure that you get your sides here. And don't be shy with your favorite pork rub, get in right after it. And you can see that ham has a really nice color. I'm really happy with it. It's gonna be delicious. Let's go outside, get the grill set up. We'll let this sweat out on the counter and then we'll be cooking in just a few minutes.
You can see here that I've already got a few briquettes warmed up here in the Weber Kettle. I've also got my setup going here where you can see I've got two little Weber baskets, and if you're looking for those Weber baskets, I'll put a link in the description where you can grab those. We've got our charcoal baskets filled up with those gel cell mac briquettes. You can see it doesn't take a lot. We're going to take our lit charcoal, split it between both charcoal baskets. And for those of you that are wondering what we're doing here, this is just minion method cooking, right? The lit coals are going to catch the unlit coals on fire. As that burns down, the temperature in the smoker is going to rise, and we're going to be able to maintain a nice even heat. One piece of hickory, you can use cherry if you like or whatever you got at home, but I'm just going to take one piece of that, throw that over on the side over here. I'm going to put our grate on, and you'll notice that I have an upgraded grate from Weber, right? This one has the two sides that open up. I'm going to center those over the baskets on the side. The reason that I'm doing that is so that I'll be able to add extra charcoal to keep my fire and the temperature where I want it as we get cooking.
Take a second to appreciate that ham. Look at the color that JDQ Spicy is putting down on there. It smells delicious. The aromas that are coming, I absolutely cannot wait to dig into this in about 3 hours. Let's talk about cook time for just 1 second. So for every pound of bone-in ham, it's gonna take about 18 to 25 minutes to get to your desired temperature. I've got a 10-pound ham here, so we're thinking about 180 minutes or 3 hours until our ham will be at the ideal temperature. And I know if you've been hanging out on YouTube, you've all seen this before. Put that right into our ham here, and you can see I went right into a bone there, which is not ideal. So we'll put it in this way. It's got a little mark on the line there. That just goes in like that. And the ideal temperature that we're gonna be looking for our ham today is 140 degrees to the Weber Kettle. It should be up to temperature now. Let's get our ham.
So as you can see, we've got some nice thin blue smoke rolling from our Weber Kettle here. I'm just gonna set the ham right between those two fire baskets that I have in there. Put the lid on, stick around, and I'll show you what we're gonna do in an hour to make sure that our ham doesn't get too much smoke and that we don't overcook it and that we can retain a little bit of moisture. Our ham's been in here for about an hour. The color looks absolutely perfect. But I'm gonna pick the ham up, put it into a foil pan and cover it with foil. just so it doesn't develop too much barkiness over the top of it. We're gonna leave this here for about 2 hours and 20 minutes. I'll stick around and I'll show you how we're gonna glaze this to finish it.
So I'm gonna share my pineapple glaze with you so that you can make the best holiday ham possible. Got a half a cup of brown sugar here. We're gonna give it a generous dose of that JDQ spicy again. And then this is the game changer here. This is Tillman's Florida Gold mustard sauce. And last but not least, I'm gonna sneak in a tablespoon or 2 of maple syrup. Feel free to use honey if that's more your speed. We're gonna bring this up to a boil and then we're gonna reduce it by about half. Make sure you stick around because it's not just about the glaze. If you really want to deliver a solid ham, you gotta know how to cut it. And I'll show you how to glaze it and how to cut it in just a few minutes. Thanks for hanging out. If you hadn't hit that subscribe button yet and you like what you see, that subscribe goes a long way as we try to make it to 1,000 subscribers this year. During the last 15 minutes of your cook, you want to open up your Weber kettle so that the vents are all the way open so that temperature spikes way up. And then we're going to glaze our ham. Our ham's been glazed. I'm going to put the lid back on. We're going to let that glaze set up and get nice and shiny, seep into all those crevices, give that ham the final layer of flavor. But be sure you're sticking around because where most people get wrong is when they go to slice them.
And here it is, our beautiful ham. The last thing you want to do is cut into it as soon as you pull it off the grill. Give it 10 minutes to sit on the counter, redistribute all of its juices, settle down a little bit, and then we'll slice into it and see how we did. Okay, so you've made it. You successfully have rested your ham. Let's go ahead and get it out of here and get a few pieces cut up for ourselves. There's a few bones in here. There's a femur bone, which is the larger bone, and then there's the H bone. One thing about ham is that you want to make sure that you only slice off what you're going to serve. And tonight, it's just me eating this ham, so I'm not going to slice off a whole bunch of it. The first thing we want to do is identify that H bone. And we're going to take our knife and go straight down. And we're just going to run that straight all the way through the ham, out the front of the ham. And you want to make sure you have a nice sharp knife there. And then stick your knife back in there and find that femur bone, and then slice it back off, going the other way. And being very careful not to cut yourself. And there we are. We have a nice piece of ham that we can work on here. So we have a nice piece of our ham all cut off here, and we're gonna be ready to go ahead and slice it up. So to slice it, you just want to make sure that you're slicing it against the grain. And the way that we cut it off here, slicing against the grain, would be going this way. If you were to slice it this way, which wouldn't be the end of the world, it would just lead for a tougher chew. Just don't do that. I have no good explanation, but that's usually where people ruin their hams. So don't do that and you'll be in great shape. So let's get this sliced up. So you can slice these as thick as or as wide as you would like. And again, this ham is from Fertile Acreage Farm. They are a pork producer here in Minnesota. And juicy. This looks absolutely delicious, and you can just see all of the juices running right off of there. So let's get a bite of that. Oh wow. That is absolutely dynamite. I'll tell you, I've eaten about 10 pieces of this ham since I started slicing it.